What's up, Wisconsin? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas from the Inside Wisconsin studios. Trevor, John, J.A.
Yes.
Where are you going for? Mom comes to you for Christmas, doesn't she?
Yes. It's going to be a fabulous holiday. But you know what? We're getting some things off her bucket list. I'm going to need more. It's going to have to be harder. I'm going to need a higher. Love the Miller Lite, but I'm going to need a little higher alcohol volume content. But we're going to take some things off her bucket list at 80. She would like to go ice skate at Rockefeller Center.
Okay.
And she wants to go see the Rockettes. I guess I thought it's somewhere in her life she had seen the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes. So we're gonna go do those things, and then I'm gonna come back here and I'll eat pie or something, and hopefully open golf balls. I literally sent my Christmas list to the kids and my whole family, and it's John's Christmas list, and then it just says 1 golf balls, and that's all that's on the list, and then I just sent it to them. And I send it out every year, and then people think I'm kidding. And the only person that buys me golf balls is my son, Colin. And that's why I always say, I love you the best, because you're the only one that gets me.
Am I the only one that stopped listening when you said your 80-year-old mother was going to go ice skating? Like, that seems to,
why? What's wrong with that?
Just catch her. Don't let her fall.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, she'll be fine. Believe me.
Are you
she's
kidding? Not a super tall.
You think I'm a hard-headed dude? You should see her. It'll be
okay. Got it.
It'll be great. It's all right.
I'm all of 7'2" on a set of skates, and our guest today is probably like 7.5 feet tall. Brian Butch. When we fall on skates, that's a long way down.
Yeah, you go right through the ice. You goes right through the ice into the deep.
Long way down. This is a good one, you guys. This is 3 Wisconsin boys going at it. Something fierce. Brian Butch, once a Badger, always a Badger. Pretty happy from Appleton. Yeah.
Right. Listen, we'll be perfectly transparent. We've done the talking with him, and we're doing an intro here. That's not always the case. Sometimes we flow into it. But in this case, we talked to him. And listen, I feel like if this might be the longest episode we've ever done, it's worth it, because this guy is a hoot. Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
He's full up.
Brian Butch on Inside Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Aaron's Company.
Hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube. Leave a review. Smash the like button. Just get with us. There he is, all 6 feet, 11 inches of him. I think he was 7 foot, but he probably didn't want people to know. That's Brian Butch, Badger forever, and now broadcaster. What's up, Brian? Good to see you, man.
Not much. Enjoying life, enjoying being on with you guys. Absolutely love it. Just trying to keep a job. That's it.
Yeah, you're a man that's carried a lot of titles as we bring you in on this thing. So, and it didn't dawn on me. I had a totally different first question, but now it dawns on when he said 6'11", maybe 7 foot. When I was a kid, all I wanted to be in life was 6 foot tall. Right. And when I finally achieved that, that was like a major life goal. Did you want to be 7 foot tall, or is 6'11" better?
Yeah, so 6'11" was always better for me. Like, I was going to be 7 feet tall, and with my shoes on, I was 7. But I was like, you know what? Let's go with the 6'11", 3/4, and that's how we'll play it. And that's what I thought that's how I thought it would go. Well, I should have gone with 7. There's more money at 7 feet. That was a bad mistake. There's more money in 7 feet tall, and then you give me a European last name like Bushnowski, and I would have been a multi-millionaire. But neither one of those was true.
Yeah, literally. By the way, does your position exist anymore? Because at 6'11", if you can't shoot and make 40% of 8-3 or 9 3-pointers a night, you can't. Like, guys that just go stand on the block is, I don't know. Is your position a thing anymore?
So I was the shooting big before shooting bigs were cool. It's crazy. So I was overseas and I was doing all that stuff beforehand. When I was done playing, I actually had a conversation with John Horst, the Bucks general manager, and he goes, Brian, do you know how much money would be in your bank account right now if you played now versus coaching? I said, hey, John, thanks so much for telling me. I appreciate that. By the way, the $20,000 I'm making for coaching the Herd, this really isn't making a drop in the bucket anywhere.
So Kaminsky owes you huge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. Frank was way better than I ever was. So I mean, but for me, it was just kind of before that. I was a big that could always stretch the floor, and that's why I loved going to Wisconsin and playing for Wisconsin, because it fit the style of play that I was most comfortable with. I was 6'11", should have been 7 feet, 6'11", 185 as a freshman in college. Try playing at 185 in the Big Ten. That's why I redshirted, because you can't. Like, I was a tiny, skinny dude. Like,
Right.
And that was just kind of the way my body was. Now I'm not. Now I'm good now.
So now we can put you on the block and just feed you.
Absolutely. Like now, yeah, you add it now, instead of 185, I'm like 275. That's because I'm crushing everything. You know, McDonald's on the way home from Iowa City at 2 a.m. Like, not a good, healthy diet like I had in college. No.
Well, I mean, I watched a little bit of the McDonald's All-Star game. You're a little skinny then too, Brian. Let's be real. Like, even your senior year.
Like, you had Chris Paul, LeBron James, and myself. There was one person that didn't belong. Like, the rest of them, like, looked like NBA players, looked like they were mature. Like, the way LeBron looks now is the way he looked as an 18-year-old. Like me, I was just like, somehow I don't belong here, but, like, I've got a good enough skill set to make it work. So, yeah, let's do this thing.
One of 23, right?
I would tell you that the other guy in that team that's filled out a little bit is one of my colleagues. Perk's put on a few. Big Perk's filled out.
He has. You know, I think he made the right decision, too, because Perk was coaching a little bit in the G League when I was coaching. He said, enough with this coaching stuff. I'm going to the media. And it's doing the media, my stuff now. It's so enjoyable, but people don't realize how much work actually goes into it either. People definitely don't understand that.
So let's talk about it. Wisconsin boy, Wisconsin Badger, now Wisconsin radio and media member. I mean, how did you land this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I played 10 years professionally, overseas, all over the place. Came back in the Wisconsin herd right in Oshkosh, so about 20 minutes from where I lived. And the head coach who got the job he coached me when I was in the G League. So I reached out to him. I said, how, is this a possibility? What can happen? And I started kind of coaching. But while I was coaching, Woodward Radio Group here in Appleton asked if I wanted to do an afternoon radio show from 2 to 3. And if you know the G League, there's not a lot of money in there for coaches. So I said, well, this is a great way for me to kind of do a little radio, but still coach and be around the game of basketball. I've always known that I want to be around the game. I love the game. The game's been so good to me. Now, what can I do to find a way to still be around it? So I transitioned to do radio and coaching. After 2 years of coaching, we had our first daughter. And it was one of those things where I'm like, there's not, like, if you're not the head guy as a coach, it's just like playing. And I had done that for 10 years. We had put our family on hold. We had traveled the world. We had done all of that. But there's not a lot of freedom when you go to coaching. It's whatever coach says, you're coming in for late night shooting sessions, just like you were as a player, except the only difference is you're the one rebounding. And I'd love to shoot the ball a lot. So I wasn't a great rebounder. So the whole coaching thing struggled there a little bit for me. But what I loved was the process of coaching. I loved the scouting reports. I loved jumping on my computer at 2 a.m. and breaking down film and evaluating players. And for me, that process was what I liked. And I realized that I kind of do that in radio. Let's see if I can kind of transition into TV and break down games and dummy it down a little bit so people understand the game, but I can also teach the game that way. And so I had, was able to get connected with Big Ten Network. And now I do some stuff with FS1 and Fox Sports, and just, am able to kind of talk the game of basketball through that, still do the radio show, have a great time with John Kuhn as we do that for iHeart, and just kind of continue to grow. And I'm a guy that I follow my passion, and my passion is basketball. I haven't had a real job in my entire life, and I'm not planning to get a real job. I don't want to. I don't want the 9 to 5. Let me bounce around. Let me kind of do where my passion takes me. So far, it's worked out.
So these things, FS1 and Fox and Big, are these networks? I don't know if my TV gets those.
I know. You got it.
It's vaguely familiar, but hey, I don't know if those are really things. Are you sure those go out over the airwaves, or they just tell you that's a thing?
Well, rumor has it you could drop my name with that one company you might know. Like, I mean, you could help a guy out. I mean, I'm a freelancer. I might work for those guys, but I am definitely a freelance worker. So if you want to drop a name, I'll raise my hand and I'll make you proud.
So you are available for Midwestern assignments if it comes, because Dick Vitale has to do the Duke games. But other than that, I feel like we're open.
I'm all for it. I know there's a guy by the name of Robbie Hummel out there that does a little bit of that, but who, by the way, is really good at it. Like, I love what Robbie does. He does a really good job of breaking down the games. But no, I'm a junkie. Like, it doesn't matter the games. I'm still calling high school games in the area through Woodward on the radio. Like, if there's a day I'm calling G League games, like, I just love being around the game of basketball. I love being able to talk the game. And then the other part of it, I run a whole bunch of summer camps in the summer, fall, spring, youth basketball camps. I enjoy teaching the game. I enjoy spreading the game. The game has been so good to me. There's been ups and downs, but it's been so good to me. Like I said, I haven't had a real 9-to-5 job my whole life because of the game of basketball. So I love being able to do that. And it's my passion. I'm a firm believer in that. Like you guys both are. Like, you follow your passion, and that's what you're going to have and enjoy doing.
So there are a lot of guys at your size that play basketball because they're your size.
Yeah.
What is it about the game that bits you? What is it about the game that keeps you in it, that draws you to, that it's got a hold of you that you can't let go?
It's really the beauty of the small things. Like, I get excited when I see great footwork. Like last night, I had Iowa and Omaha, and Chris Murray. We all know his brother Keegan, but Chris Murray, he was driving baseline, spun, did a great turnaround into a left-hand jump hook, right? So I get excited over that. Now it's a 30-point game at this point, but I'm getting super excited. Then 2 possessions later, he uses a little jab with the foot to create enough space to be able to raise up and knock down a 3. And Kevin Kugler looks at me and goes, "Why are you so excited?" I said, "Because, Kevin, that's a thing of beauty. Like, that's the simplicity of the game." Everybody wants to make the game of basketball so difficult. It's not. It's not difficult. Keep it simple. When you keep it simple, you have success. All you got to do is look at Giannis and Giannis, best player in the world at getting a rebound, going down court, full head of steam, and finishing. Best player in the world. Nobody can stop him doing that. He's working on his mid-range jumper. He's working on a 3. But he is MVP player because of the ability of what he does, just to continue to do what he does extremely well. He keeps it simple. So many young players want to do so many different things. You guys see it all the time. Between the legs 9 different times, but they don't go anywhere at the ball. Like, to me, I don't get excited over that stuff. But now if a guy uses a jab, gets the defender to shift over a little bit, now you created a driving lane for one dribble, jump stops, finds a shooter. Now there's one more reversal for a wide open corner 3. Like, that's great basketball. So for me, it's the simplicity of it. But I'm a simple guy in general. There's not much that I need to make me excited. So I guess it kind of fits my personality a little bit.
Yeah, we like dunks and 3-pointers. You can't work for us at all.
Yeah, that's why I was never highlighted.
We're not showing a lot of nice backdoor cuts and bounce passes.
We were number
you're definitely stuck in Appleton.
We were number 1 in the country. Only Wisconsin team to be number 1 in the country. And there was never a highlight of me because there was never a dunk. There was nothing. There was 0 highlights of me on ESPN by you guys. I'm just throwing that out there. Now there's a lot of dunks, but never of me.
I listen. I understand. I don't know why we don't just in the tees coming up some really solid screens. People would flock to that. I know they would.
They would, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, who shuffled his feet better than this guy? Look at him slide across the court. That is unbelievable. That guy can cover ground. You know?
Hey, I'm going to say this, though. Simple wins. You want to highlight winning, simple wins.
I will say this, and think what you do of the way he coached and his personality style. In his later years when he worked for us, sitting around and chatting with Bob Knight, it is amazing. And he said that all the time. He just go, "John, smart wins every time." And then he would add the caveat that I loved. And sometimes the smartest thing you can do, just let the other guy be dumb. And he'll just that way he just hands it to you. Right.
But it is. It is. Like, we want to complicate everything. And that's why I love sports, because it's not just, basketball, but it's sports. You learn this. Like, people are going to do dumb things. Let them do it. Like,
yes.
if a guy wants to front me, that's fine. You front, I'm going to work you up the lane. We'll throw the lob. I'll get a nice little layup and we'll go down. Like, if you want to work harder than me to prove something when I know that I'm just going to set you up for a lob over the top, that's great. Go ahead and do it. That's fine. I'll take the 2 points. It's not the highlight. It doesn't give you the da-da-da, da-da-da. I get that. but it'll give me 2 points.
We're using that. That will be in the highlights. Speaking
By
of
the way,
that.
Trevor and I work on the same dynamic. We just argue who's the smart guy and who's the dumb guy. We haven't really figured that dynamic out, but the rest of it we do perfectly.
Right.
I'm in the lead for one of them. I think I can confirm that. So you're still involved with the game. People recognize you from playing at Wisconsin. You're on the TV now being an analyst. Do you ever get this godforsaken question that I do? Do people ever say, oh, did you play basketball? How tall are you? And did you play basketball? Does that happen to you?
It happens way too much. And I'm like, yes, I did play basketball. I'm 7 feet tall. I wasn't any good. The worst question, I was like, what's the weather up there? Number one, not funny. That's not a funny thing to ask. Okay.
And I got to cross it off the lightning round.
Yep, exactly.
How's the weather up there?
Then, because what I want to do is I want to spit on on their head. If that's fine, it's raining.
It's raining.
And spit on them. But nowadays I can't spit on someone's head. I'll get sued, all that other stuff. But if you want to ask me a dumb question, that's fine. But can I give you a dumb answer back? No, I can't.
Yes.
I'd love to.
Let me give you a few that I give. Number one, I say I'm 6'8" and I'm working on it.
Okay.
Number two, I apologize.
Yep.
Number three, I say, if you have any tips on how not to be this tall, I'm all ears.
Okay.
And then when they don't recognize me or you, I tell them I'm Brian Butch, and that seems to work.
And then you get the
Can
bill.
I follow up on this? Not to be sort of get stuck on the height thing, but when I was at Mizzou many years ago, and I got there just after the great run of Steve Stepanovich and John Sunvolt. One was a 7-foot center. The other guy was a 6'2" shooting guard. And John would come back and he said, the nice thing about being the 6'2" shooting guard is I can walk into a room and just know and blend in. And he said, Stipo, regardless if he's All-American, which he was, or he goes 2 for 14, cannot hide.
Yeah.
And in that regard, right, you're stuck in that. And that when you walk into a room, people know Brian Butch is there, whereas you find somebody else you played with as a guard. And again, regardless if he averaged 25 a night or 2, he can just sit down at the table and order whatever he wants and be incognito.
Yep. Yeah. The worst part, though, is in groups like the Ryder Cup. Everyone's yelling my name. I'm my head above everybody. We're at the Ryder Cup and everyone's, hey, Butchie, what's going on? Just trying to watch some golf here. That's just no big deal. Just trying to blend in a little bit, or if you're at a Packer game and then all of a sudden everyone sees you because you're a head above that's the worst. The room, you can kind of, I've been this tall my entire life. Where you can kind of hide a little bit. There's a corner here that you can just kind of get close to, nestle up there. Not everybody's going to see it. There's ways to hide. In big arenas, in big groups, you can't do it. That's the biggest thing. That's the most frustrating thing.
By the way, this is terrible because I sent a picture to Trevor. I was at the Packer game in London. I sent him a picture. I'm like, look, found Sam Decker, because there was Sam in the middle of the crowd.
That's my point. That's exactly my point. You can't hide in those moments.
Right? Didn't I? I sent you a picture. I said, look, I found Sam.
Yeah. Well, you told me the story too. He walked by, super tall guy, and you're like, how do I know him? Oh, that's Sam Decker. Got it.
Sam.
Yep. Recognize him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Good stuff. All right. Well, we'll cover the time at Wisconsin. We'll cover a little bit of the professional career, more on the media side, and maybe just growing up in Wisconsin, being one of us. Look at us, 3 Wisconsin boys here in Inside Wisconsin. We're back in a minute with Brian Butch on Inside Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Aaron's Company.
Hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube. Leave a review. Smash the like button. Just get with us. All right. So people say all the time, John, that you cannot reinvent the wheel, right?
Correct.
Festival Foods has invented a new way to do holiday meals. Go to festfoods.com and check out their heat and serve holiday meals. So, are you the cook in your family? Are you the person that puts it all together?
No. I hate to say that this is divided about gender lines in our home, but no, Tam does most of that, and then I get to do all the carving.
Yeah.
I get to impose my will on some of these things.
Sure.
Luckily, I have my daughter who sent back, please, Mom, are we making mashed potatoes? And she said, don't make green bean casserole because nobody likes that. We just want the regular green beans.
Jeez, let it go. Okay.
I'm just
holiday dinners. Some people don't have a cook or a chef in the family, and they burn it and they don't want to do it anymore. So with Festival Foods help, There's now a way for you to heat and serve from their deli. They have so many options: turkey dinners, ham dinners, medium dinners, large dinners. We're talking ham, stuffing, potatoes, gravy, the whole 9, 10, 11 yards. You can get it all literally heat and serve. So you don't have to worry about it anymore.
I'm chuckling because you're like, yeah, listen, 3rd and 19, they can cover it for you in Festival Foods, right? If you get way behind, and if you're playing behind the chains and suddenly you find yourself 3rd and 22 and it's late, these Festival Foods, these are your people.
Got you covered. Yep. So go online, festfoods.com, click on the option for holiday meals. You'll find the order form. There's literally an order form with everything that you need on there. Get it in and make your holiday meal stress-free with Festival Foods. All right, J.A., time for another top 5 list presented by the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. Make a smart investment and choose from 50 academic programs, including criminal justice, forensic investigation, and education. UW-Platteville's affordable cost means you'll graduate with less student debt and more opportunity. Big win. Find out more at uwplatt.edu. J.A., pick one: criminal justice, forensic investigation, or education if you weren't a broadcaster.
Okay, so first off, I'm listening to this and I'm like, wait. Where's the plug for the agriculture folks?
There's there's engineering, but if you had, I mean, like, what would be your backup plan?
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not. Listen, I watch Quincy. I'm not an NCIS guy, so I don't need the forensic and criminal. I want to go back. I'll be the farmer. Okay,
the farmer. Good.
I'll go be the farmer. I'm out there.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so a holiday edition, a Christmas edition, a St. Nick edition of our top 5 list today. I'm excited for this.
Of the night before Christmas there? Are you going to read us a story?
No, my notebook, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Big one. Yeah, this is all the show
Trevor
prep
has
for the
many leather-bound
books.
And his basement smells of rich mahogany.
We could go on for that. I mean, we could do the whole thing. Okay, top 5 list. I asked you if you could recall anything that was in your stocking as a kid. I want to talk about the top 5 things that a Wisconsin kid gets in their stocking. And you said there's one thing I got every year. Right. And it was.
Well, I'm pausing for effect to see how many people go, a lump of coal. No, that's not it. Yeah, like I have no distinct memory of ever getting anything that was traditionally put in the stock, other than there's always either an apple or an orange in the toe of the stocking, and that's it.
Always an orange in the toe of a stocking.
And then you take it, and then you just set it back in the fruit bowl, and there it is. But
thanks, Bob.
And every once in a while, if you have to fight scurvy, you go ahead and peel that thing off. But that's it. Nothing else that I ever can I recall that was an absolute that was in all the time.
Well, let's see if any of these were in your stocking. I know a lot of other Wisconsin kids are going to embrace these things.
This is Trevor's holiday top 5.
Yeah, in my stocking when I was a kid. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, yeah, I got one of those. All right, so 5 in orange. Number 4, candy or a Pez dispenser. Remember Pez?
Well, candy, yes. Are you kidding? I can walk in 3 seconds and be back with my Batman Pez dispenser.
Yes, okay, good. So you get it.
Yeah.
5, orange, 4, Pez. Number 3, I always got a CD or a tape when I was a kid. As in, like, whatever music was hot. I got my Crisscross was on tape and Mariah Carey CD when I was a kid. Or Meatloaf or something for you? What was it?
Well, no. I mean, first off, I'm old enough. I don't recall anything being like that in my stocking, but I am old enough to always have been a member of the Columbia Record Club, where, of course, you get your first 12 for a penny, and then you only have to buy 9 more at regular club prices after that.
Okay, so
but that would be more like when we did that was like more like Supertramp or Head East, Flat as a Pancake, and some things like that.
The Mac Data make you jump. All right, number 2, lottery tickets. There were lottery tickets every single year. None of us ever won, but we all got scratch-off lottery tickets. No?
I've never bought a lottery ticket in my life, nor did I ever have one in my stocking. No. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, lottery tickets.
Every year. The comments will be full of people. Yep, I got lottery tickets for sure. Number 1.
Nothing says Christmas quite like a lottery ticket.
Hey, you'd never know. You could be a big winner or not. I think I won $20 once. It was a big deal.
Rewind.
There were lottery tickets every single year. None of us ever won. I think I won $20 once. It was a big deal. Number 1, a popcorn ball?
So on occasion, yeah, I can remember the occasional popcorn ball. Yeah, that would be. Yep, I can. That would be something I probably would have had more than once or twice. Now that I
Good.
think about it, we
A
go
lot
with
of
the
people.
popcorn ball.
A lot of popcorn balls. Yeah. The holiday
not-
edition of a top.
I'm not playing. I'm not taking the lottery tickets under protest. I'm just saying that's really that shocks me.
No kidding. I wonder. It certainly couldn't have only been our house. I feel like a lot of kids in Wisconsin got lottery tickets in their stocking either Christmas morning or when St. Nick comes on December 6th or something a couple days ago. Yeah, lottery tickets. The Wisconsin lottery. Scratch them off.
Did you do St. Nick? We didn't do St. Nick in our house.
We do St. Nick, and we double dip. We do St. Nick, and then we always, Santa always fills the stockings. My kids, we're past it. We fill the stockings for Christmas morning, too.
Okay.
It's fun. Lottery tickets and all.
Yeah, I'm not mad at anybody. Just if anybody's listening, just send me golf balls because no one in my family will, even though that's all I want.
Pro V1s? Let me guess, Pro V1s.
Yeah, like I'm looking at the stash down here. From where I look over here, like I have 7 dozen just sitting right down here.
I think you're going to be good for a minute. Jeez.
It is funny. Like I'll go pull somebody out and they'll go like, that box is from like 6 years ago, but I still can't have enough of them.
All right, back to Brian Butch.
Yes, back to BB.
We're back inside Wisconsin. Brian Butch, John Anderson, my name, Trevor Thomas, 6'8", 6'11", 6'2", JA, 6'1".
And a half.
Okay, just sorry about it.
Now he's gonna throw the half in there. Like
Okay,
now he's like every player, just gonna throw a half onto it, throw an extra inch on everything.
So here's the reason I do that though. It's like as a former high jumper, every half, every quarter inch, every centimeter matters, right? So you can tell people you jump 7'2" and a half, or you can tell them you jump 7'2". So in my defense, my bracket, though the 6'2" and the hook is important to me. Okay.
Got it. All right. Well, okay. So none of us were this tall back in the day. Brian, let's go back. Your days at Appleton West, maybe even before. One of the things I was wondering was how old were you? What year in school when you got your first offer? Because it was pretty easy to see that you were going to be pretty good at this whole basketball thing.
Yeah, and actually, I went to a UW Green Bay camp, and Mike Heidemann was the head coach at that point. And I went with a bunch of buddies, and we were there having a great time, goofing around, just being kids. But one of those things where they moved me up to the older group, and so I wasn't always with my friends. So, one of those where we're playing, and all of a sudden, Coach Heidemann comes up to me and he goes, "Son, come here real quick." And I said, "Oh shoot, here we go. Now I'm in trouble." He's like, "I want who's going to pick you up from camp?" I said, "Well, I'm going home with my friends." He goes, well, son, can you call your dad and have your dad pick you up? I'm like, sure. So I call my dad during the break, and it's like, "Dad, Coach Heidemann wants you to pick me up." My dad, 6'6" guy, bigger guy, just a hard worker, owned a grocery store, doesn't have time for that. Like he's a grocer. And if you know grocers, like they don't have time for that stuff. They got work they got to do. The shelves need to be stocked. Everything needs to be good. They got to be there for the customers. He goes, "Brian, I don't have time for this. I'm busy. I got stuff I got to take care of. I got the shelves. I got to make sure we got the milk taken care of. I don't have time to come pick you up. This better be good because right now we're going to have severe problems, Brian." And I'm shaking now because I don't know what's going on. Like now Dad's upset. And when you get Dad upset now, oh boy, watch out. Like not good at all. So he comes, he picks me up. Coach Heidemann brings us, starts talking to my dad. He goes, "Now I'd like to offer your son a scholarship. Don't take this. We're going to be the first. It's going to be bigger than that." But at that point, my dad just kind of loses. "What did you say? Scholarship?"
How old were you?
Grade. 8th grade. I was in 8th grade. Yep.
Jeez.
Yep. So, needless to say, Dad was not upset that he had to pick me up. The drive home, I think we even stopped for some ice cream. It was a good day.
Yeah.
And so after the whirlwind recruiting, we don't go to GB. We end up in Madison, which is not that far. But give me a great recruiting story that wasn't Badgers or somebody in there that sort of is memorable.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. So I took all my trips. I went to Arizona. I went to Kansas. I went to North Carolina. I took a trip to Marquette, and then obviously Wisconsin. And I think the best part was as we were going through the trips now, and part of this was I knew that the coaches were going to change a little bit here because Roy Williams was at Kansas, Matt Doherty was at North Carolina, Lute Olson was at Arizona still, Tom Crean was at Marquette, then Bo was at Wisconsin. And I went to Marquette, and they had posters everywhere. They had buildings. They had my jersey number in the rafters. And for me, I'm a simple guy. Like I've said this, like I liked Marquette. I think it was a great campus. But like Tom didn't get to know me. He thought I would like all that stuff. And it was that didn't do anything for me. So I knew Marquette didn't vibe with what I was about. I just want to play. I want to get a great education. And I wanted to make it simple. So then I went to North Carolina. Before that, I went to Arizona. I was out in Arizona. Channing Frye was my was my kind of mentor at that point, chaperone more or less. And we got out there in the spring, had a really good visit. But I also knew that like Coach Olson probably was on his last couple of years of coaching. And my big thing is that you go to a school for a coach. As much as every college athlete says, "Oh, it's about the school," no, it's about the coach. Like that's the reality of why you go to a school. But I went into Kansas, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. North Carolina put on the full court press. They had the private plane. They flew me there, did everything, brought out Joe Wolf because there was a Wisconsin connection. So they flew Joe out and had a conversation with me out at a football game and all that. But this is the best part is Coach Ryan and Wisconsin heard that North Carolina gave me a private jet. So like, well, we're going to give him a private jet. We'll fly from Appleton to Madison. Like, we can cover that one. That's not a big deal. So sure enough, they had a private jet set up for me to go from Appleton, Wisconsin down to Madison, which I thought was pretty cool. And that's like, that was cool. That was flashy. But then when we got to the visit, it was simple. We played, went to a football game, and we just, it just felt right. And I think that was the biggest thing. And the other part is, I knew that Roy Williams was not going to stay at Kansas because on the North Carolina trip, the players didn't love Coach Doherty. And I had a gut feeling, even as a 17-year-old, that wasn't going to last because you have to have your players embrace what you're about. And there was a disconnect there. So I remember sitting in Roy Williams' kitchen, and every Sunday, the last day of the trip, he would take you to the house. And his wife would make you waffles, and you'd be at his house, and you'd be at his, kitchen table having dinner. As if, my parents would come, my sister came, and I came. And I asked him one question. He goes, feel free to ask me whatever you'd like, son, and all these other things. And I said, Coach, what's the one? Like, if there's one job, would you leave for North Carolina? And he goes, that's the one job I'd leave for. And like to this day, I have so much respect for the honesty. Because you don't get it in recruiting. You don't get honesty. You just don't.
He's losing his mind.
Roy's a fraud. Roy's a fraud, and Lawrence is a shit. Okay, so can we just call it what it is?
I'm just telling you, like that's not my experience. Like,
okay,
he was honest. You don't get it.
It's gonna be me and you, Butchie, the rest of the show. John's out.
I know.
You went to Lawrence.
I did. I played golf with Danny Manning's golf clubs too. It was great. I shot bad. Not good. Was not good.
Actually, Danny. I like Danny, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And you landed at Wisconsin. So,
yeah.
I have a phenomenal follow-up to this. I happened to text Bo Ryan today and said, Coach, Butchie is coming on the show. Give me your best Brian Butch story. Here we go.
Let's see what he gave you, because I got a couple good ones on him. So let's all right. Now we're gonna do this.
Is this 13?
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Okay,
everything that we just talked about culminated right here. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Bo says, my wife, Kelly, has a favorite story. When Brian made his official visit, we had him, his family, and the team, and assorted others to our home for dinner. When the team said goodbye, they always gave my wife a hug. When Brian reached the door, he hesitated, came back, and also gave Kelly a hug. Sunday after brunch, the assistants and I were discussing his visit, how it went, and our chances of a commitment. Kelly spoke up and said, he's coming. He gave me a hug. And you came.
I don't know if it was signed and sealed delivered because of the hug, but absolutely. And now every time I see Kelly, I give her a hug now as well. So, no, the recruiting visits were they were fun. They were unique. It was a stressful time. But I'm so glad I picked Wisconsin for so many reasons. I talked with Saul Phillips about probably 6 months ago and going through some stuff with my son. And Saul goes, imagine if you didn't end up at Wisconsin, what your life would be like now. And I had a chance to talk about kind of what we went through with our son who had brain cancer. And I called Greg Gard and I said, Greg, I'm not a former player here. I'm just a dad in need of help right now. And that's what I need. I need help. And he picked up the phone. He called Steve Stricker. Steve got on the line, got a hold of a couple of people with some insurance issues that we were having as they rejected kind of some of my son's surgery for a laser. And we went through the whole denial process within 1 week. And it's all because of guys like, Coach Gard, Steve Stricker, who I've never met, which is hard to believe. But I remember this to this day. The insurance for our son, we found out he had brain tumor last November, about a year ago. And within 6 months, he had to have surgery. And the insurance company denied his claim and said the laser procedure instead of a full craniotomy was not going to be covered because it was too new. And I go, too new? Like what? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. My son can be in the hospital for 3 days with a little incision, and we can possibly take care of this, or we have to slice open his head, and he's got to be in the hospital 14 days. This is just dumb. So I called Greg. Greg got me in touch with a bunch of people, some people at Children's Hospital in Milwaukee, some people at AmFam in Madison, and then he gave me Steve Stricker's number. And I've never met Steve, but I called him, and I left a rambling message for about 5 minutes, just rambling. And I remember the last thing I said in the voicemail was, Mr. Stricker, I'm just a dad asking for help. And within probably 5 minutes, he called me back and he got the ball rolling. Now you got to remember this was in May. And what did he do in May? He won one of the senior opens on the senior championship. And that was that same week. So he was so unselfish in the moment to go ahead and worry about my problem when I just called him rambling on, just completely rambling. And then he goes, and does that. It just speaks volumes for Wisconsin people and what we're about, I guess. It's about others. You've got to be unselfish. You've got to take care of the other people around you.
Not bad for an Illinois guy, right?
I know, right?
When he went off and did that. So what else did Bo have to say? Was Trev? Anything in there?
That was it. I was really hoping for something better, but he said, yay. He hugged my wife and he came to Wisconsin.
I am squeaky clean. There's nothing that he would tell you that is not. There are zero stories out there. I'll give you my favorite Bull Ryan story. How about that?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So we're on a plane. First year, I'm thinking to myself, why does he always sit in the back? All right. But I'm a freshman. Shut your mouth, Brian. You're trying to play. Sophomore year. Still thinking, what does he sit in the back of the plane for? Junior year. Now I'm getting some more minutes. We're number one. We're a pretty good team. I still don't have the, guts to say, Coach, why are you sitting in the back? Senior year. All right. I'm going to play. No problem. Almost. This is like Big Ten play. So I know I'm good. Nothing we're good. I said, Coach, why do you always sit in the front of the bus and the back of the plane? And he goes, Brian, have you ever seen a plane go down tail first? No, if this plane's going down, I'm surviving. As a coach, if this plane's going down, we're all going down. There's no surviving this. I love it, but it explains Coach in a nutshell. That right there explains him in a nutshell.
You tell the team that was number one, team that won a Big Ten title, won the Big Ten tournament, and I'm looking through those rosters, and they are 85% Wisconsin kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes we ventured out and pulled somebody from, Minnesota, Illinois, or God forbid we went cuckoo with Krabbenhoff and went all the way to San Diego. How the hell did Trayvon Hughes fit in there from the Queens, New York? Where did we get that clown?
Well, here's the thing with Trey. He went to prep school in Wisconsin. So that's the connection.
There you go.
He's still a Wisconsin kid. He's got the Queens, but he's all Wisconsin. So even though it might look like it, that's kind of like you adding that half inch onto it.
Sure.
No, it was. No. That's not. It might look that way, but we really know what it is.
So I asked that to get to this point then, because some of the other schools you mentioned that you went to visit, North Carolina pulls guys from everywhere. You watch Duke. When you Kansas, they pull guys from all over. So when you pull that jersey on, it says Wisconsin, right? I can't speak for Purdue and others, but does that have a meaning then that you're wearing that and this, this is us?
Yeah. It did. Why did I go to Wisconsin? That was that. This program was rolling, right? Dick Bennett got it started. Bo took it over. But this is home. This is where I grew up. I wanted to take the program and be a part of something bigger than myself. I wanted to continue to grow this and continue to have the success. And now you've seen it trickle down. You see the success that, Wisconsin basketball has grown. Like the state of Wisconsin right now, basketball wise, whether it's Tyrese Halliburton for the Pacers, whether it's Patrick Baldwin now with Golden State, like there's a lot of great young talent. And for me, I wanted to go to Wisconsin and continue to build the basketball tradition was already there. But I wanted to try to leave it better than when I got there. And I think that's what we did. I think that's what that group did. We were very unselfish, all of us. We realized that as a group, we could achieve great things. And so nobody was worried about their numbers. Nobody was worried about accolades. We just wanted to win. And over the last 2 years, we won 61 games. Like, to me, that's a lot of wins in college basketball.
Yeah, it's funny. The guy who replaced Roy at Kansas, Bill Self, I knew when he was in Oklahoma. When Wayman Tisdale passed away, the great Wayman Tisdale. So what should I know? What's his legacy? What he said, here's his legacy, and it's unbelievable. He goes, he made Oklahoma a recruitable state. He said nobody ever came to look for basketball players in Oklahoma. And then Wayman was there, and they're like, wait, there may be Wayman. He goes, and now how many guys come out of there? And I think that's part of the success too, is Wisconsin's office. And there's always been a guy here or there, but there are a lot of really good players that come out of Wisconsin now.
Yeah. And that was my thing. As a kid, I wanted to be able to go to Wisconsin and see and have other kids watch you stay at home and have success. And I think that's the thing. Like, you can play and grow up in Wisconsin and still reach your dreams. And I know it sounds really corny, and I understand that, but I truly believed it. That, like, hey, you can do this, you can win, you can be on the biggest stage possible and be from Wisconsin. And you see a kid like Johnny Davis have the year that he had last year, a Wisconsin kid, right? Like, it's a special feeling when you put on the jersey. I remember being at Ford Field, my last game, we lose in the Sweet 16 to this guy. I don't know if you've heard him, Steph Curry. Like, he had a pretty good game. I think he's having a pretty good career. But it's so tough to take that jersey off, knowing that was the last time I was going to represent Wisconsin. It really was, and it meant a lot.
Once a Badger, always a Badger. What was your favorite moment of being a Badger?
Let's go. It's got to be the bank shot against Indiana. Like, it's got to be, right? Like that and senior night. Making the bank shot in Indiana, and because it was such a crazy night, like Calvin Sampson at that point didn't coach in that game because all of the phone calls and text messages that had just broke. So they're scrambling around. Like, there's just this weird aura in Bloomington, in Assembly Hall. Like, it's a weird feeling going on. Now, you got to remember, they had a really good team. They had Eric Gordon, DJ White, like a really good team. And we needed that win to be able to win a Big Ten championship. And so that moment was really cool. And then winning it at home on senior night against Penn State, that's what you live for. We won that, and then we won the Big Ten tournament that same year. So those moments, I guess my thing was, that's what we came there to do, was to win, and we did that, and we did it at a high level. And that's what drove me, was winning. It still does.
So we're just, I get it. We're dripping. We're just, butter is pouring out about how much we love Wisconsin. And I think I have a handle on this, given how you've talked so passionately about the game and your part in it. But let's get beyond our borders and talk about you chased that little ball around the globe, man, when you got done. We did that for love of the game. We did that for a few bucks. We did, what drove kind of the post-collegiate career and how you handled that?
Yeah, the first couple of years, it was the love. I went overseas, and I was in Spain, Germany. I was in Greece. And when I was in Greece, I kind of learned, like, I didn't like the game. I wasn't getting paid on time. I was practicing around a roof that was leaking with buckets on the floor. I mean, they brought in a replacement for me without telling me they were going to send me home. They didn't pay me. I had to buy a ticket to my own team's game once they released me. So I act like I was going to go to the game. So I bought the ticket. I sat in the stands. And then when halftime came, I rolled right into the locker room. talked to the owner and said, give me my money. I want to go home. Pay me. I'm not leaving until you pay me. Pay me. So the coach is trying to talk halftime strategy, and I'm in there just going at it with the owner, knowing like, because if I leave, I'm not going to get my money that they owe me. So I'm going at it with the owner. That was crazy. But at that point, like the love had gone away. So I went and I played in the G League, the D League at the time. And I found the love again. And I was able to get my call up to the Denver Nuggets. Finished out that season, had a 2-year deal with them, ruptured my patella tendon, was out 15 months, kind of went through that whole process of where that took me. Finally had a chance to play for Team USA at the Pan America Games because it was in the lockout year. So came back, played for Team USA, found the passion yet again, was in training camp with New Orleans, was with New Orleans when David Stearns, the general commissioner botched the Chris Paul trade to the Lakers. Mm-hmm. So they said Chris came back. He's sent to the Clippers, was in training camp during that, going to start that because they were really bad, which was great for me. Like you get your foot in the door in the NBA, you can find a way to, make a couple of years out of it. Tear my MCL that year, finally go to the G League, keep playing a little bit. And then I have a realistic conversation. At this point, I'm about 28, 29. And I talked to my agent. I said, all right, it's time. Like, not going to get back to the NBA. I've had too many injuries. It's time to make some money. So the last probably 4 or 5 years of my career, I went overseas and I said, all I care about is that the country's safe and I make a good amount of money. And if those two things happen, we're good. I ended up playing in Dubai for a year, which was great. Played in Tokyo and Japan for my final 2 years and ended up playing in the Philippines for a little bit. And those last 4 years were great because I was getting paid well. And it was just fun again. I was in some really great places. My wife, we were married. She came out. We were living. Now, the basketball wasn't great. In Dubai, my two guard was 5'11", 260, but it was fun. Like it was a great place.
Is that the norm? I mean, that just seems like the norm. We talked to Sam about this. I know Brad Davison's over there now. There's just so many guys who don't know
Kiefer
if they
Sykes on, right? Kiefer chasing around.
Yeah.
That's so the norm, right? Did you know that you were going to get into that, Brian, when you were kind of undrafted into the NBA and then bounced around? That's ultimately what you had to do, right?
Yeah. No, you don't ever think you're going overseas. Yeah. Like you don't. Like for me, I went undrafted, but I had great workouts with Boston, and they said, "Hey, we're going to be interested with you. We want you to come to this vet camp. We want you to try to do, training camp." And then all of a sudden, like it starts to get to be, July, summer league's over with, and you kind of evaluate and say, "Oh, if I want to still play, like I've got an option overseas." Like that's when it hit me was that, okay, I'm going to go overseas and play. You don't ever think that, and then you kind of understand what the game is and realize, well, this will give me a chance to get back to summer league again and kind of give it another shot at the NBA. And you do that over and over and over again, and you learn a lot. And I love playing overseas because I found out a lot about myself. I think that I'm a better person because of what I did overseas, playing-wise, living, culture-wise, things that I never thought I'd ever see in my life, I was able to see. And I think it made me the person I am, the husband I am, the dad I am now because of those opportunities.
Was there a big decision whether you should permanently relocate to Dubai or come back to Appleton, or was that fairly easy?
It was a tough decision. Now you got to understand our days were this. We woke up, we'd walk to Starbucks, we'd walk to the beach, we'd hang out, we'd get lunch, and then I'd practice for like an hour. That was it. And that was the day. And we'd rinse and repeat. Life was good in Dubai. The basketball was not, but life was great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
All right. One more for me, and then I guess we'll take a break. John Kuhn. Speaking of never thinking you'd be overseas, now you're doing a radio show across the entire state of Wisconsin with John Kuhn. Tell us about your relationship. Your positions in professional sports were just slightly different. Short and stocky, tall and skinny.
Yeah. No, we get to do a show every single day together. And the one thing that I tell John with the radio that we both like to do is we're open and we're honest. And I think that's what makes it fun. We don't always see eye to eye. To be honest, we differ a lot on a lot of different things. You mentioned Aaron Rodgers. We're going to differ on that. You mentioned the way the Packers are playing this year. We're definitely going to differ on that. There's a lot of things that we do. But the thing that makes it work between me and John right now, and we've been doing it almost 2.5 years, is there's mutual respect because we both have played at a high level. And we understand that both of us have gone through it and we've seen different things. And I think giving that opinion on the radio has really made what we do work, because there's really no other radio, tandem group can say that in Wisconsin sports right now. There's other guys that have played, but they're doing it with different people. Here we get two guys that are former athletes that have come together and want to talk sports, and all different sports. And I'll say this, the last part of it, and you guys know this, it's not easy to do radio every day. There's preparation. There's making sure that you're on every sport, not just that. When I got into radio, 4 or 5 years ago, I wasn't really a baseball guy, but you got to talk baseball. So I embraced it. And now I love watching the Brewers play. And to me, that's the fun part about the radio. And I've got to give John so much credit in that, is he has really dove into so many of the other sports. So we have really great conversations for 3 hours every single day.
But you're from Wisconsin. I can understand you. Every once in a while, that Yinzer accent of his, and you're like, what the hell did he say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you try to get him to say defibrillator. Like, no, John, it's not defibrillator. No, it's defibrillator. Like, no, we had a segment about that. I said, no, John, it's not defibrillator. Like, it's right. Defibrillator. There's only one way to say that. Get that out of here. Like, you're doing a sports talk show in Wisconsin.
We told him the only reason he stayed on that team was because he and McCarthy could understand each other. Otherwise, he'd have been out in about 2.5 years.
There's probably a lot of truth to that.
He needed somebody who else knew where, like, hey, where are we going to eat? We're going to go downtown. Otherwise, nobody else would know where to go to eat. Because he's the only guy that knew where the hell downtown was. By the way, when I grew up, we had a mall downtown in Green Bay. Now it's in Appleton. Why the hell does everybody go shop in Appleton? It's as long as we're in the holiday season. Have you noticed that, Trev? Everybody goes to Appleton. I'm not mad. I just want to know how the transformation happened.
It's a better city.
Oh, stop.
Born and raised in Appleton,
stop.
It just is.
Break.
What? No, hey, guys, I'm
what
sorry.
Are you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking about?
This is the first time I have my mouse hovering over the guest mute button. I didn't think that was ever going to come.
I'm just telling you, it's a better city than Green Bay. I mean, even all the opposing teams stay there. I mean, they want to stay in Appleton. They don't want to stay in Green Bay.
They go there because it's they go there. Now we're going to get mail, but okay. They go there because it's boring and safe and you can't get in trouble. Green Bay's like going to South Beach. We can't have up in Green Bay. They're going to go crazy up there.
So why did Brett and Frankie and boys make their way down to College Ave a little bit there during the
to get out of here times? To just get to not be in their own backyard?
Oh,
okay, got it. We're back in a second, wrapping this crap up. That's inside Wisconsin.
Brett Favre endorsed. How come that's not on every billboard?
We're done.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Aaron's Company.
Hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube, leave a review, smash the like button, just get with us. So before a holiday meal, many families have either the head of the household or the host of the meal stand up and do a toast.
Sure.
Are you the toaster at your holiday meal, John? Do you give a toast?
I do not. I'm more of a participant in that regard than I am a leader. But I can certainly get behind it. I'm here to good health, or to l'chaim. Here's to life. Whatever you got. I'm a willing participant.
My question is, do you know any of the toasts that are like jokes? I mean, there's a lot of toasts that are jokes, like before you do a shot in a bar. If it's a holiday toast, do you have any jokes? Are you a jokester? No.
No. I have a whole family that prides itself in telling me that I'm not funny.
Wow. That's kind of harsh. You speak for a living.
I usually, every once in a while, when I will go out and speak and do different things, and somebody will chuckle, I'll say, I just want to warn you, my mom, if she was here, she'd say, don't laugh at him. You'll only encourage him.
Oh, gee. That's not nice. Nothing says holiday
tell
spirit.
Her that. It's not.
Yeah. Well, you tell her she's coming for Christmas. Maybe she'll do the toast. This holiday season, make sure to stop and shop at MillerLite.com. Shop.MillerLite.com. It's the all-new holiday collection of literally everything you would need, from the cozy beer-inspired holiday sweaters to drinkable ornaments for your tree. Whoa. Got to find one of those. Drinkable ornament. Got it. All right. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/InsideWisconsin to find delivery options near you. so you can give the gift of Miller Time this holiday season, or you can pick it up. That's Miller Lite, pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tis Miller Time. J.A., where'd you get it?
This week I went because I have a speaking engagement in Denver, and I got a tuxedo, and I just picked it up there at the Former Wear Shop.
Oh, it's nice. Send you with a 12-pack. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. We're back inside Wisconsin, and we're all still friends. Trevor Thomas, John Anderson, Brian Butch. Yeah, we're
Appleton
friends.
native.
I was going to say that. Beat me to it. All right, 2 for me, then it's the ever-famous John Anderson lightning round. 2 quick questions for me. Number 1, we mentioned it early. Did you know what you were getting yourself into when it was the LeBron James McDonald's All-Star Game? I watched some highlights. That was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely knew what it was. We came in, we got to practice, and then LeBron came with his entourage already. And I'm an 18
Cleveland, for God's sake.
Oh, it was all – this was
that.
all LeBron. Everything was LeBron, and I was like – I've never seen an entourage in general because, Appleton, there's not really entourages. So we just had my teammates, but that's fine. I mean, maybe in Green Bay there's entourages, but not in Appleton.
Yeah, there's not much in Appleton.
That being said, he came in with trainers and everything. I said, okay, this is what this is. Well, I'm glad I'm part of it. Yeah, exactly.
You only made one poster from the highlight reel that I saw. He had a dunk. There was a big flash bulb in the background, and you were standing right there. I'll send you the picture. Anyway, Last one for me. John Anderson lightning round. John and I did a little banter earlier about our top 5 stocking items here in the state of Wisconsin. What was the one stuffed item in your stocking as a kid, Butchie, that you remember?
Black Nike socks. Loved them.
Solid.
Oh, yeah. I'm a hooper. Give me black Nike socks. That was you would. And here's the key. I've actually had an NBA GM tell me this. Hey, Brian, don't wear black shoes. They make you look slower. Wear white shoes. So, I mean, maybe that's why I look so slow all the time. Because I had black socks.
Man, that's a Michigan thing. That's
I know.
the Fab 5, right? Those guys.
I know. Yeah. That was my thing, though. Oh, I was excited.
Oh, my goodness.
Get him, J.A.
Well, hang on. I don't know where to go because I took "How's the Weather" up there off the thing here.
It's raining.
I'm not really sure where to start. First off, this isn't a lightning round, but we didn't get to it. Have you and my old neighbor Doug Gottlieb buried the hatchet?
We're good.
You were on his podcast, right?
I was on his podcast. I jumped on. We talked a little bit. I called him out. I said, why were you coming at me as an 18-year-old, not playing as a redshirt freshman? Just so you know, Trevor, he said, hey, most overrated player in all of college basketball, more or less. And I wasn't even playing. Wasn't playing, came after me. And this is where I messed with Coach Ryan, because he got up there in a game that we won, and he went after Doug hard. And I said, you know what? You got my back. All right, we can do this. You got my back. I'm on board. You can yell at me as much as you want. You can do it. You can coach me up as much as you want. I'm never going to go against you. Let's do this. Let's roll. And it was that moment. But we hashed it out. I said, hey, I said, and now in the media, I said, Doug, I know what you're trying to do. You're just trying to move up the ladder by being flashy. I said, I don't like doing that. I said, I personally, that's not the way that I want to try to move up the ladder. I want to move up the ladder in college basketball world by just doing a good job. But I can respect that, and it's worked for you.
So given that, how has that informed you, and maybe it hasn't in any way, now that you comment on 18 and 19 and 20-year-old kids who are in the game, who probably have gone through the same crap that you went through?
Yeah. No, I'm very cautious on what I say. I want to be fair. I want to be honest. I want to make sure that when we're calling a game, if they have a turnover, that's a bad pass. You got to change the angle of the pass, and then all of a sudden that's how you don't get your turnover. But I'm even in the NIL life that we're living. I know a lot of people say that, well, they're professionals. No, they're not. These kids maybe are making $10,000. Now, Hunter Dickinson and those sort of guys are making $6 figures. I get that. But most of these guys are making anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. Realistically, they're not paid athletes. Not in the big picture of it. So for me, I really just try to make sure that when there is some negativity, it's put in the light where, hey, these are teachable moments for these young kids. And I think that's the way that I like to do it. I like to highlight them. When I do TV, it's my job to promote the schools, both schools, and to put these kids on a highlight, to spotlight these kids and give them the opportunity. I had my opportunity. I did everything I could with that opportunity. When I look at it and do TV, I don't use it as a platform to try to raise myself. I just, it's not about me. It isn't. It's about these kids and these programs. And that's what I try to, that's how I try to do TV.
Good. We'll go quicker now. Give me one of your favorite McDonald's teammate, even though you're only there for a week.
Favorite McDonald's teammate, I really got, and it was, but it's going to sound really corny, but it was LeBron. Like, for whatever reason, we kind of gravitated towards each other. Now, we're not besties, but like during that week, we got pretty close, probably because I was setting screens for him all the time. But
there you go.
He understood I could play the game.
Tell me, who's the mayor of Appleton?
It was Tim Hanna. I don't know his name. I think it's a Woodward or something now.
It's Jake Woodford.
He's got a beard.
Yep, Jake Woodford. Good.
How
many did Steph Curry score on the Badgers in the tournament game?
Why? Like I just told you, that was the last time
I wore the popular player on the planet right now, and you had to, you were in a game with him.
I think it was 38.
Scored 33.
33.
But none on you, right? Like,
no.
Did you get in a bad switch at any point? Did you get on a bad switch and you're like, crap?
We got put in a bad switch a whole lot. There's a whole lot of me trying to close out like this, which was never a good thing.
Another really famous guy that you went up against, but this seems like more of a fair fight. What was the year? A couple times you met with Greg Oden.
Oh, they were so that was the year. That was the game I dislocated my elbow. We're number one in the country. They're number two. Greg's got to guard me. I didn't look at it as I got to guard Greg. I knew that my hands were full. But hey, let's move you out of the paint. Let's create driving lanes. I think I had 5 points in the first minute and a half of that game, and then I dislocated my elbow. And Columbus, I remember it to this day because I went into this game. It was the first game that Bo ever changed the starting lineup. You want to talk about Bo Ryan looking absolutely just coming in at halftime saying, I knew I should have never changed starting lineup because he never changed his starting lineups. He never did it. For that game, he won it because they had Ivan Harris, a lefty shooter. He started crabbing off instead of me. At that point, it put me and Greg Steams in on the game at the same time. Greg, for whatever reason, didn't try to block a shot. Me, I tried to block a shot, which, I mean, I talk about reverse there. And then that's how I dislocated my elbow. And that was a matchup I loved because Greg wasn't going to come out and guard me at that point. Like, it was a good setup. But, yeah, you live to see another day.
Live to see another day. Okay, so I can't ask how the weather was, but now that I know your dad was a grocer, did he use you to stock the top shelves?
No. Here my dad, I would try to work for him. He goes, Brian, you can't work for me. I said, what do you mean I can't work? I can't make some extra money? He goes, no. If I got to give you off every single Saturday because you're playing, what can I do with the next employee? He goes, the standards are the same. He goes, if you can't work for me when I schedule you, just like the person next to you, you can't work for me. So I never really had a chance. The only thing I did for him was I'd go up and I'd cut his grass at the store. So that was it.
Other than that, your schedule made you unreliable. We couldn't have it. Best visiting arena, the best place you like to go in the Big Ten to play.
I'm a sucker. Give me Assembly Hall in Indiana. I've got a lot of great memories there, but the history. Like if you ask Matt LePay, like I would pick his brain all the time of all the arenas we went to. I'm a junkie. I love the history there. I've hit the bank shot there, and it's where I called my first college basketball game for the Big Ten Network. So there's a lot of good memories there for me.
Give me your favorite Andy North story.
Favorite Andy North story. I think the biggest thing with Andy that I laugh at all the time is when we're all together and we're traveling and he's moving back and forth. He goes, he does it all the time. Hey, Butch, come here. And he starts giving me some insight on what I did wrong in the game. I was like, Andy, I'm going to catch this all in film. Like, I know I didn't play good. Like, we got this flight home. I appreciate it, Mr. North, but, like, Bo's going to yell at me, too. Can I take this 10 minutes and not get yelled at? Like, so that's my favorite because it happened all the time. It's just – and when I see Andy, that's exactly what I think.
Which Appleton Appleton West grad has more money, you or Brad Smith, the CEO of Microsoft?
Oh, Brad Smith, absolutely, yeah.
Couple two tree.
He did, see, but again, another Appleton person. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean,
you want to get in a person for person, tit for tat with Wisconsin, with Green Bay people or not? Finally, turn around and tell me about the two basketballs that are over here, up above you back there.
All right, so This one right here, we've got is our. We went back 10-year anniversary of our Big Ten championship. It was pretty cool. They brought all of us back there, and this basketball is a D-League basketball. Yes, I won the NBA All-Star Game MVP, and this was the basketball for that game. So these are the two that I got out right now. But just pretty cool moments, pretty cool things that I've got. You guys know you do a lot of Zooms, different things. I'm surprised you talked about the basketballs because I'm really the one thing I really like.
The liquor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fly that hell. The Cubs, you suck. Go Brewers. Fly the hell, man. The Cubs, you suck. Go Brewers. Like, that's what I'm most impressed about.
That's outstanding.
Oh, I saw that. I just wondered if you had that out of the reach of the kids, which I think is a great safety tip, right? Put it up there with the Drano and some other stuff.
Have to.
Oh, man.
Listen, I might have other questions, but I'm not going to. Where are we going after that? You got to quit when you're on top. There you go.
Or not.
Let's
Butch, it was great to catch up with you, man.
Let's give the Cubs the L and get the hell out.
Right.
That's what we all want. No, guys,
Dude,
I appreciate it.
Great to catch up. The questions were fun. The Appleton Green Bay thing. I think, though, I speak for the entire state of Wisconsin when we say all the best, man, to your family. You guys have been through too much. We are hoping and praying that you never have to have a kid in a hospital ever again.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. And I've said this on air, and I mean this. Born and raised here in Wisconsin. Last year, I felt like at times my bucket was full. And then you realize that you've got a lot of support here from people that you don't really even know. And you realize your bucket's bigger than what you ever thought. And you can handle way more than what you thought because there's a lot of people thinking, there's a lot of people caring for you. And it's because of where we grew up, of what we are. We're from this great state of Wisconsin, and I've been all over the world. And I'm not saying it just because I grew up here, but there's not better people than right here in Wisconsin that will do anything for you when you need it. We've lived it over the last year, and just so grateful for everybody.
I'll quote my dad. Amen and drop your voice.
Love it.
John, this is not a tall guy thing. I'm not ripping on you for not being as tall as Brian and I, but you were a high jumper, and it's a different kind of jump. Were you able to dunk ever in your career?
I could, but oddly enough, only with a volleyball because I had to be able to palm it. I couldn't turn it over. And the other thing I would tell you now in my defense is that when you high jump, to dunk, right, you put your hand up here and you go like this.
Right.
If you high jump and do it well, you take your arms and they stop right here by your eyes.
Oh, interesting.
Now, if you watch anymore, the Europeans, they do this big flaggy thing. But ideally, you want to go and they stop right there. And so it became really odd to try and do that. But yes, I could. I will say this. When I talked about, are you that high? So I always wanted to be 6 foot tall. And my junior year, when I go out for the track team at the last month, that's it. I do a couple of meets and then I'm not even eligible for the postseason because I haven't been around enough. And I had told everybody at the end of my junior year, I'm 6 foot tall. Well, the first time I jumped 6 feet, I went back to being 5'11" and a half because I so desperately wanted to have said I jumped over my head. And then my senior year, when I jumped 6'8", nobody was fooled. I jumped over your head in senior high.
Yes, very much. Yep.
I wonder when the
6'8".
last time that guy had to go through a door and didn't duck his head.
Doors are 80 inches. Like, I'm 80 inches. If I don't duck, I hit my head, let alone a guy that's 83 inches. It's great.
So I didn't know that until I came back. So I set the school record, and I had jumped 6'8". And my dad goes, door jams are 6'8". And I'm
Without
like, wow.
carpet.
So every time I walk through, that's how I used to tell my kids or Colin. I said, how'd you jump? I said, well, in high school, I jumped over that door. And they go, wow, that's amazing. By the way, that dude's good. So this is about the 17th guest in a row where we're like, we need a two-parter, or we need to invite them back. Or in this case, that guy could just be the co-host so one of us can go on vacation some week.
He was fantastic.
Well,
I thought you guys.
Maybe we just choose up sides. I'm willing. Bring the Appleton people on. I'll get some Wisconsin people.
I was going to say.
We'll just come to blows. I think it's healthy. It's okay.
I've never seen two people virtually fist fight, but you two were close. We bailed. We absolutely bailed in that segment. We're done.
I don't know. I think it's okay. I don't. It's all right to fight for your rival. It's okay.
Yeah. So then it's only natural to segue into a John Wisconsin story from here in Green Bay. I'm in middle of the winter lumberjack.
Well, the nice thing is they're all local. And I thought, because I just spent the week at the NCAA cross country championships, which I love. By the way, the winning team, Northern Arizona University, it's won for the 6th time in the 7 years on the men's side. Their second best runner, but one of those guy named Drew Bosley, who's from went to Homestead High School, Milwaukee guy, great nice runner. So Wisconsin always has a great presence at the cross country nationals we got. So I thought about that, and then I saw you in your flannel, and I was inspired, and I thought I will tell a John Wisconsin lumberjack story.
Oh, good.
And it's the time of year when my dad would take myself and my 2 older brothers, who are not as tall as you, Trev, but were big guys. One was 3 years older than me. No, Tim was Bill's 5, and one's 5 and 7 years older than me. So big guys, worked at construction with my dad, and we would go, and he's like, this weekend we're going in and we're going to make wood.
Yeah.
Going to make wood for the winter. Yes. Okay. So we would go off to Mr. Britton's land over there in Pulaski, and sometimes it'd be chilly and there'd be some snow, and it was great fall time of year. It smelled like fall, and we would saw down the trees, and then we would saw them up, and now we would put them in the back of my dad's truck, and we'd bring them home. And the home we were in, we had put on an addition, so there was a little crawl space, right, that I would have to go down, because the 8-year-old John, being this big, would go into the crawl space, and I would stack the wood. I'd put it in the wood thing. That was my job, was stacking the wood. And we did this year after year after year. And so 8-year-old John so now as we get older, and I'm 6-foot John, I finally look at my 6'2" and 6'3", but I'm like, why am I the guy that always has to go into the crawl space? Because my back, even at this age, is killing me. So they say, so they'd take the wood and they'd wheelbarrow and they just dump it through the window well, which, by the way, nobody in the South knows what a window well, because they don't have basements. But anyway, and now I'd stack, and it'd just be coming down. So I've had enough, and I'm going to go. So I walk around the front, and I'm kind of bowed up. And so I would like somebody else go down in the crawl space. And I said so that we'd saw up the wood, but then when you got it home is when you chopped it. So they handed me the axe. I took 2 swings, and I said, I'll see you in the basement.
No log splitter back then?
No, just a big old axe. And my dad and my 2 brothers would take turns and swing for a while. And then, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm totally good down here. I will not make that complaint anymore. And I at 57, if we went and made wood this weekend, I'd go down in the crawl space.
You had no clue. You just lived down there.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Making wood. Gosh, is that a late fall, early winter Wisconsin thing? You haven't lived until you went out in the woods with your dad or your grandpa and you made wood.
And you tell people that, like, what do you mean you made wood? Like, don't you plant it and the wood is made? Like, now it's kind of, no, we had to make wood.
A little bit of a process.
So I don't know how much wood I made. I did a lot of stacking of the wood that had previously been made.
That's awesome. Well, we know how to make good shows, John. You and I have this thing licked. This is the last episode before our best of episode to wrap up 2022.
How is this guy on his own not the best of?
Oh, he will be a part of the best of.
I would be. By the way, every time you guys called him Butchie, I'm like, wait, that's not Butchie. Wait, no, that is Butchie. But it's a different
not Butchie.
Yeah, there's Butchie Man and there's Butchie. Same guy.
We had them both on.
Different dude.
Good stuff. All right, we'll chat again in a few weeks. J.A., until
happy holidays, my friend.
Yeah, happy holidays to everybody else, too. And as you were, Wisconsin, stay safe. Remember to subscribe on YouTube. Leave a review. Smash the like button. Just get with us.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Aaron's Company.
Shut up and sit down.